Hello, I'm Colin Meyer, and today I'm going to talk about a healthcare issue, and that would be the insurance companies. So, starting out, insurance companies have gotten pretty big. So big, in fact, that one of those companies, WellPoint, gave their CEO a salary and bonus of $5 million. Obviously, that's a sign of how insurance companies have come a long way from their charitable Christian roots and the way that they provided insurance to provide care for really the good of humanity. Now, they're trying to make as much money as possible, and that $5 million is a good example of that. A big issue I realized while reading Chapter 1 was around 1993, the money that, I didn't know this until I read this, the money that they got from premiums, they had to pay almost 9/10 of that premium money on medical services, which is exactly what you would think you'd be paying for insurance. But as time moved along, insurance companies started to delude from that and started spending more premium money, your money that you give them, on things such as marketing, lobbying, and paying out dividends for stock, which right there is a prime example of making money. Anyway, obviously that's not a good problem, that's a terrible thing to realize. So the government tried to step in with the Affordable Care Act, and they basically they basically put their foot on like, hey, you gotta use that premium money. You gotta use at least 80 to 85% of that premium money on medical services, right? However, the problem with that being is that now that they are using that premium money and they have to use at least 80 to 85% of it, well, now they can sign deals with, hospitals or medical facilities where they can negotiate. It doesn't really matter what they're negotiating, not all the time, but for the most part. They can get what was it? It was like someone doing physical therapy, it might cost you $100, but then an insurance company would sign a deal that they would pay $500 to that, right? So they're using that money, they're paying these crazy deals, but since they do that, they can get away with that. They're still using the 80 to 85%. They can now claim, and it's kind of an excuse to be honest, that, well, since we're paying that much money, we're gonna have to raise premiums. And so you get premiums raised, everyone does, which isn't good, and you end up getting hurt, even though the Affordable Care Act was trying to stop that. And that's a problem. It's a big problem. And so my thing that I would say is on how to fix that, I would say there's more government regulation that's needed. I like the first step of the Affordable Care Act, and I remember that was a big deal back in, 2010, 2011. But I think we need to go a step further. It was kind of like what we were reading earlier this week about what did the FDA. It started out in 1906 as this sort of, just it was kind of a lackluster drug regulation act, and then as things got worse and worse, the FDA evolved into, by 1938, 1939, the Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act kind of took it a step further and kind of regulated it even more. And I think that is what exactly needs to be done with health insurance companies and their premiums, and how they can just sign any deal willy-nilly, and even if the deal is a terrible deal, they can still claim it's a deal they had to do, and now they can raise premiums, and it's just a big excuse. And so I think we really need to crack down on the in a sense, it seems like it's corrupt, but I don't know about corrupt, but definitely their heart's in the wrong place. It's without a doubt trying to make the most money as possible. And they even said that in the chapter is, having a bigger pie is good for them. It might not be good for the individual, because it's not, because it hurts your wallet. You have to pay more out of your wallet. But they can get away with that because they made the deal, and even if what did it say? It's like you can save 96%, but you saved 96%, but you still paid $3,000 when they could have done another deal, the real rate. Instead of, you could have saved 90% and only paid $1,000 out of pocket. So it's like taking taking advantage of deals is the big problem, and government needs to step in even more to really regulate the type of deals that are being made with hospitals and insurance companies. Have a good night.